Picture this. 10 years ago AMD felt like a deflated balloon in a room full of party poppers, stock trading in the low single digits, competitors flexing every muscle, and skeptics writing the obituary. Fast forward to now. AMD is printing record quarters, hitting huge revenue beats, and sitting in the $400 billion market cap neighborhood after a single explosive week. If you bought a handful of shares back then, you might be sitting on a small fortune today. That's the Lisa Su miracle story, and it's why investors are whispering, and sometimes shouting, about a path to $1 trillion. Q2, the numbers that made people lean forward. Let's get the scoreboard out of the way, because numbers tell stories. Revenue. AMD reported a record second quarter revenue of about $7.7 billion, a roughly 32% year-over-year increase. That's not small bumps, that's a rocket booster. Gross profit. Gross profit came in around $3.06 billion, up about 7% year-over-year. The margin was affected by inventory charges, which I'll explain. Net income. Net income was $872 million, a remarkable 229% increase from the prior year quarter. That's the kind of swoop an accounting chart does when a company goes from struggling to operating well. Earnings per share. EPS rose to roughly 54 cents from about 16 cents last year. That's a huge jump in per share profitability. Why this matters? Revenue growth like this changes the tone of conversations. When the top line grows strongly and net income accelerates faster than revenue, investors begin to believe the company is not just growing sales, it's converting those sales into real profit, which ultimately powers market cap expansion. Why the gross profit didn't explode as much? The inventory wrinkle. Gross profit only rose 7% while revenue jumped 32%. That gap sounds concerning, but the story has a hairpin turn. AMD took a large inventory charge in the quarter related to certain GPUs restricted for export, which pulled down reported gross margin on a GAAP basis. In simpler terms, they wrote down some inventory that couldn't be sold in certain channels, which temporarily reduced the headline profit margin. That's an accounting hit, not necessarily a permanent operational failure. Once that dust settles, future gross margins can rebound as new product shipments avoid that same issue. Imagine you run an ice cream stand and one week you discover a pallet of vanilla that melted during a power outage. You have to throw it out. Your sales for the week might still be great because the strawberries sold like crazy, but your profit for the week looks worse because of the loss. That's what an inventory write-off does to quarterly profit. By the way, if you are benefiting from the content so far and want more like this, like the video, it means much to me. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notifications bell, and comment the word more. Just go ahead and type the word more so I know. Now that you have commented, let's continue. The market's reaction. Headline fireworks. On a big Friday the market went boom. AMD's stock jumped roughly 7.6% in a single day and the company crossed above the $400 billion market cap mark. Investors were reacting to both the Q2 numbers and to the ongoing narrative about AMD's role in AI data centers. More on that later. OpenAI/Oracle buzz. This kind of market reaction is classic. Strong results plus a forward growth narrative equals momentum. The miraculous pivot. Lisa Su's era. 10 years ago AMD's stock sometimes hovered around $1 to $2 territory, depending on split adjustments and exact dates. The company looked vulnerable, and the narrative was of survival rather than dominance. Enter Dr. Lisa Su. She took the helm and executed a multi-part turnaround plan, refocus on high-margin server and client CPUs, EPYC and Ryzen, invest in GPU and data center accelerators, and build strategic partnerships. The market rewarded the execution. What was a fragile, low-valuation company turned into a market leader across multiple compute categories. Headlines and profiles have since celebrated Su's leadership as a textbook turnaround. Picture AMD as a small, beaten-up neighborhood pizza place. Lisa Su didn't just reheat the slices. She hired a world-class chef, reimagined the menu, added wood-fired ovens, and then somehow convinced the hottest food critics to do a back-to-back rave. Suddenly the place is Michelin adjacent and people line up for a table. How AMD's businesses are fueling the numbers, and why investors care. AMD is not a one-product shop. The revenue jump is supported by several engines: client, Ryzen, and gaming. Strong demand for Ryzen CPUs and console stocks contributed materially to Q2, keeping consumer and PC revenue robust. Apple, Microsoft, Sony, and PC OEM demand cycles matter here. Data center, EPYC plus Instinct EPYC server CPUs continue to steal share from incumbents in cloud and enterprise data centers. On top of that, AMD's Instinct accelerators are now positioned in an AI growth market. When cloud providers ramp AI infrastructure, AMD captures part of that spend. Integrated systems. AMD's ability to sell rack and partner solutions, e.g., through OEMs and cloud deployments, lifts the company out of commoditized silicon into higher-value integration deals. Put simply, they're selling both the engines and increasingly the engine room. If you bought 10 years ago, the investor fairy tale. Let's make it real. A decade ago, a long-term AMD buyer at single-digit prices would have seen returns that turned pocket change into real wealth, as the share price multiplied many times over. Stories like that are why retail investors love origin tales. Call it the classic. Bought 100 shares for pocket change, now my neighbor asks to borrow my yacht. Narrative. The real point: compounding over a decade with consistent product wins can convert very small stakes into very meaningful outcomes, and AMD could 5x over the next years. But remember, hindsight is an excellent architect. Not every turnaround becomes a multi-bagger. Execution matters. Note this as well. And as ye would that men should do to you, do ye also to them likewise. For if ye love them which love you, what thank have ye? For sinners also love those that love them. And if ye do good to them which do good to you, what thank have ye? For sinners also do even the same. And if ye lend to them of whom ye hope to receive, what thank have ye? For sinners also lend to sinners, to receive as much again. But love ye your enemies, and do good, and lend, hoping for nothing again, and your reward shall be great, and ye shall be the children of the highest, for he is kind unto the unthankful and to the evil. Be ye therefore merciful, as your Father also is merciful. Judge not, and ye shall not be judged, condemn not, and ye shall not be condemned, forgive, and ye shall be forgiven. Luke 6:31-37. If we fully obey the Lord, the Creator of heaven and earth, and carefully follow all His commandments, He has promised to set us high above all the nations of the earth. Deuteronomy 28. We shall be blessed when we come in and when we go out. I appeal to you to accept God and let Him be your guide, for He will never leave you nor forsake you. Do not be afraid, do not be discouraged. Deuteronomy 31 verse 8. Want more information? Please check the description section. That's the end for now. If you have watched until the end, drop a comment like this: I stayed until the end. Just comment that I stayed until the end. When I see this comment, I will give you a heart. 3 more favors I request from you. First, like this video, subscribe, and then turn on the notifications bell. If you do this, you greatly encourage me to continue bringing to you insightful content. Do not miss out on our future videos full of insight. All I am asking is your subscription. Thanks for joining us today. Your support means so much to us. Do not hesitate to share this video to help someone who may benefit. I recommend that you watch the next video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts about today's video. Wish you God's blessings and care. Faith and prayer will do what no power on earth can accomplish. See you in the next video by God's mercy.